So now, the National Democratic Congress, the largest opposition party in this country, the party that's formed the government until 2016 and lost elections, has come out to say that, and let me just read this bit of a report that says the National Democratic Congress has accused the New Patriotic Party administration led by President Akufo-Addo of spending at least $6.8 million on private firms to carry out audit that is already being done or has been completed by state agencies. According to the NDC, it has in its possession a certain document purporting to emanate from a cabinet committee said to be responsible for the coordination of investigations / forensic audits. It is alleged that, and this is not part of the report, that Senior Minister Yaw Osafo-Maafo is the lead on that committee. The said report, according to the General Secretary of the NDC, Asiedu Nketiah, who is seeking re-election, is intended, quote, to tarnish the hard-won reputations of ex-appointees of the former NDC government and, by extension, the NDC, unquote. Addressing the media on issues on governance at the party's headquarters in Accra, Mr. Asiedu Nketiah said, quote, an amount of at least $6.8 million has so far been paid by the MPP government under President Akufo-Addo's watch to these private firms to carry out work that is already being done or has been completed by state agencies. We have evidence from some former NDC appointees that while they have been or are being subjected to IOCO investigations, and while they have submitted themselves to regularly reporting to IOCO, they have also received letters from some of these private firms to answer the same questions they have already answered at IOCO, unquote. They are calling on the government to render an account and to explain why they came to spend so much on these. Now, let's quickly take a listen to Johnson Asiedu Nketiah himself and come to do the discussion.
Under the 1992 Constitution, it is only the Auditor General who is authorized to carry out audits of state agencies, where for some good reason such audits have to be carried out by private firms. The Auditor General's consent has to be sought. Indeed, it is the Auditor General who is supposed to choose the firms and authorize them on their mandate. Our information is that this did not happen in this case, and that these private firms were sole sourced by Mr. Audit Nketiah, who also works in the office of the Senior Minister, Mr. Yaw Osafo-Maafo. We also have information that it was Mr. Osafo-Maafo's idea to convert the illegal reports of the unauthorized private firms into a supposedly Cabinet Committee report. This was after the Auditor General had refused to own the audit and issue a report on them on professional ethical grounds. To be fair to UNDP, I'm sure they didn't do any background check, or maybe they didn't know the person who is going to handle that job. That's why they will be sanctioning such a thing. Because if they know the things we have brought up today, I'm not sure anybody in UNDP will sanction anything like that. That is why we are going to show this evidence to the UNDP that if you are dealing with this person, you are dealing with somebody who looks like a fraudster. There is a grand scheme to first dissipate public funds, to cover up for that dissipation. You understand? So that they paint everybody with the brush that the CID boss once said that, oh, our purpose is just to paint the government white and let them continue doing their work. So that painting white, the whitewashing is what is going on. And before you can do that whitewashing of crime,
right, so that's the General Secretary of the NDC. I think I'd like to start from Andrew. You, and if I'm starting with you, it's only fair that we listen to the MPP's reaction to this. The MPP organized a press conference, as in its communications directorate, headed by Yabuabing Asamoah, organized a press conference, and this is what they had to say. Let's listen to him, and then we'll hear Andrew speak about the issue first.
The government did not spend $6.8 million on the audits, as has been deliberately and falsely put out. The UNDP only provided technical assistance to the office coordinating the results, the audits. This is in line with Section 3F of the IOCO Act, which allows IOCO to seek technical cooperation from international sources. The technical support from the UNDP is part of that is UNDP's anti-corruption support and governance project, and from our understanding, costs less than $100,000. The mention, we believe, of $6.8 million is a total red herring aimed at diverting attention from the substantive findings of the forensic audit and the genuine questions that persons found culpable may have to answer as part of the investigative processes of IOCO. And I want you to please note that the institutions involved are paying for the forensic audits. It would serve the public well if Mr. Asiedu Nketiah could be humble enough to apologize for bringing the UNDP and the government into disrepute on the basis of a wild, reckless guess, or at least reveal his source for that information. Otherwise, we again humbly plead with him to hold his horses, rein in the reckless and misguided pronouncements. Indeed, rumor-mongering cannot be a substitute for information and lies. Neither will it protect you from accountability. As a political organization interested in the future of this country, is calling on the government to expedite dockets that are ready and prosecute those dockets so that the public can see that the job of accountability is going on as the public expects.
Right. So that's Yabuabing Asamoah, who is the Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party. We'll hear Andrew Ejapames, and I'll give him sufficient time to let us know what exactly is going, these accusations that have come forward. Why is it the case that the state is spending this much on activities that state organizations have already done or they are doing? We have some information that point to the contrary, particularly where you have IOCO itself being the one requesting for certain audits to be done. And it does appear they have the power to do so by themselves. Okay, so let's hear you.
It's pretty interesting, you know, why our friends in the NDC create their own distortions, don't provide any basis, proof whatsoever, and invite us all to debate the issues. Because I would have thought that if you suspect that indeed these audits were commissioned by the Auditor General, according to them, in contravention of the Constitution 1992, they would have demonstrated by way of proof that indeed this is the document that clearly shows that the Auditor General is the one who commissioned these reports. Diajiman, the board chairman. Yeah, of course. So show us that this is the letter emanating from the board chair, which the Auditor General refuses to own because he disagrees with the breach of the Constitution. They don't, because no such document exists. Yet, when your reporter subsequently asks them whether they have any proof, they're saying that they're going to give that proof to the UNDP because the UNDP possibly did not do proper due diligence in providing the technical support to the cabinet subcommittee, if you like, who conducted those investigations. That's something like you said. There's proof. I've shown you copy of a letter from Yoko, dated October 17th, 2017, that appointed Morrison and Associates, pursuant to the Yoko Act, Section 14(3), which mandates Yoko, when they lack internal capacity, to engage consultants to assist them in the conduct of audits. And that letter is categorical. That the Ministry of Energy had lodged a complaint regarding the operations of an agency under its supervision with Yoko. And that because Yoko hasn't got the capacity, staffing capacity, of course, to engage in the kind of exercise that would uncover whether indeed there is some rot. They were engaging Morrison and Associates to conduct a forensic audit over a certain period of time to ascertain whether the allegations that the ministry had made and the complaint that had been lodged with Yoko had merit or otherwise. That's exactly what happened. Yet, our friends in the NDC want the people of Ghana to believe that this investigation was commissioned by the board chair of the audit service, okay, into an allegation or investigations that state agencies were conducting or had already conducted.
The board chair who is presently in a fight with the Auditor General.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. I would not call that a fight. There is some disagreements. And look, Samson, boards are not supposed to operate as
the
if...
second board after Ghana Gas. Very interesting.
Which second board?
The second board, Tango, after Ghana Gas.
Okay, so keep your focus.
Well,
and don't go defining the rules of boards.
No, that's fine.
Keep to what you are discussing.
IPP has an obvious problem.
And go
but I will respond. I happen to be on the board of Ghana Gas, and there's no tango between the board and the chief executive at Ghana Gas. If it's Ghana Cylinder that you want
Ghana
to make reference to,
sorry,
say
Ghana
so.
Cylinder,
And
sorry, Ghana
yeah, we
Cylinder.
all deal with it.
There's a tango.
Because, yeah, they're human beings. They're not supposed to agree on every issue. So if there are disagreements and they are unable to resolve it, it will be escalated to the appointing authority to resolve.
Okay, so maintain your focus.
Okay,
right.
So these are the facts. In any event, you see,
While this
Samson, very well.
And I have a copy of that letter from Yoko, dated October 19, 2017.
19th, yeah.
Yeah,
I
October
said
19,
17th. Good.
2017. And it is to the managing partner, Morrison and Associate, and it calls them clearly to do investigations into the operations of the Ghana National Gas Company, GNGC, pursuant to Section 14(3) of Act 804, and they clearly say that they need to do some of these things. Whilst you are referring to this may just be one in proof of your claim that the NDC got it wrong by suggesting that it is the auditor, the chair of the audit board or audit service that, ordered these investigations. But this may just be one of the many audits that they are talking about.
You see, Samson, you and I are trained lawyers, and there's a fundamental legal principle that he who asserts must provide the proof. They lumped everything together as contained in the subcommittee report that we saw and said that Mr. or Dr. Diajiman had commissioned illegal audits. I've shown you a copy of at least one organization contained on the list that clearly debunks the allegation of the NDC completely. So let them show us the documents that they have that says that Dr. Diajiman is the one who commissioned the investigation relative to the other state agencies. There's none.
I see.
But of course, we all know them. Their founder has told us, confirmed, that that's their nature. Create the distortions, provide no proof, and invite everybody to spend precious man hours on it.
In this specific circumstance,
please.
This was the scope of the audit. The scope of the audit was this, to cover the period from 1st January 2009 to 30th June 2017. Verify if existing financial regulations have been complied with. Ascertain if all appropriate legal requirements have been complied with. Assess any weaknesses in existing control procedures, whether documented or otherwise. Ascertain the extent to which losses, if any, have been incurred by GNGC as a result of failure to comply with regulations. Where losses, if any, are identified, the process leading to the loss and the level of involvement of the personnel involved should be stated. Now, does it not suggest to you that this is a fishing expedition? You don't know exactly what you're looking for, but you have set out to investigate a regime, an entire political regime, to fish information for your purposes, and they are supposed to do this. Ensure that all resources are adequately and properly accounted for, to report on any contracts or payments in excess of 50,000 US dollars or CD equivalent per any transaction during the period under review. Ensure that payments to any one individual, organization, and or related organizations for the same purpose shall be considered as one transaction.
How does a scope that enables one to actually determine whether some wrongdoing based on the allegation or the complaint that had been lodged constitute fishing? How else could the scope of work have been framed? Because the intendment of the letter is clear. We've received some complaint that some wrongdoing. And you see, I would have thought that in the spirit of the accountability that our Constitution enjoins us to engender in our body politic, we would have focused on the report of the audit to make a determination whether indeed some wrongdoing was established. Clear. And they are not focusing on it, that indeed the audits that were conducted revealed a loss to this state amounting to in excess of 800 million. That's of no consequence to us. It's only the peripherals. Okay? So, you see, to even conceive that no investigation should be conducted in itself, I don't get it. Yoko commissions an investigation. People are called, they are asked questions, they provide responses, and a report is generated based on which appropriate action will be taken. If you haven't committed any crime, why? What's your base? What's your issue? In any event, look, Samson, another allegation is that, and that's the headline, that government has blown $6.8 million with 6 agencies. Now, Samson, we all live in this country, and I thankfully have the benefit of some corporate experience, where audit fees, which are charged by audit firms in this country, are relatively known and can easily be verifiable. So if the NDC allegation is anything to go by, what they are suggesting to you and I is that one audit firm charged $1.2 million to audit one state agency. Is that how audit fees are charged in this country? Is that how much? The letters that you have clearly shows that Ghana Gas's audit didn't even cost $200,000. $200,000. Yet, they are suggesting to the people of Ghana that government spent 6.8 million.
So show us how much. Show us the documentation, the invoice, and what you paid. It shouldn't be difficult.
It costs
Show us.
825,000.
Thank you very much.
Show us.
But you see, what I am asking him is that this is only one.
Samson,
What Asiedu Nketiah is speaking
problem.
to is a general situation,
Great.
and not just one.
So let him provide the proof. That's the principle that we all taught.
Okay, and this is the basis,
Okay.
the basis of the figure I give out, because those who charge the fees actually would have done it and would have documented it. And I have a document dated November 9, 2017, which confirms the fees that they were charging for the services that they were rendering, which was supposed to be paid in 3 installments.
For all the 6.
No, this is for
Only
the one evidence he is using to prove that what Asiedu Nketiah is talking about may all be conjecture and lies.
Absolutely. You see, now, so assuming without admitting that every audit firm charged $500,000 times 6, even comes to 3 million. And there's proof that even the Ghana Gas one did not cost us $200,000. Okay, now, if we spent $2 or $3 million, or let's even take their figure that they are bandying about to be the actual figure that government spent. If we spend $6.8 million to uncover a rot of $200 million, that constitutes less than 5%. Is it out of place? Is the audit worthy of being carried out? But like I said, it's of no interest to them, because they can smell something cooking. That these exposures that were contained in the audit report that they've chanced on clearly indict some of their members. And the corruption tag, okay, that was hung around their neck has been established through some audit. Of course, the audit is not a court. And so they necessarily ought to be prosecuted if the Attorney General finds whatever investigations that the audit firms had discovered through YOCO's mandate. And of course, whatever reports that they have will be the document that is owned by YOCO, based on which dockets will have to be prepared to be submitted to the appropriate prosecution agencies to conduct a prosecution they so deem appropriate. Okay, we haven't even gotten there. Yet they conduct a press conference, raise all sorts of issues, half of which was directly attacking the personality of the Dr. Diajiman.
Right. He has issued a suit. We understand
absolutely.
that he sued the Asiedu Nketiah. But you see, they refer to a cabinet committee report on these matters of audits or special audits, forensic audit. And of course, that's the one they refer to is an audit report, a cabinet, committee report dated the 31st of August, 2018, and which clearly gives indication of what may have been going on. And this is the report. The report is titled Report of the Committee Responsible for the Coordination of Investigations / Forensic Audits for the period ended 30th June 2018. And it says, Introduction 1. This report for the first 6 months of 2018 provides the following. 1. Progress on forensic audits awarded to private auditors. So, that clearly may be a vindication of Asiedu Nketiah's claim, and he's referring to a cabinet report. Yeah. Progress on forensic audits awarded to private auditors. Number 2, number of audits completed and submitted. 3, significant findings in the reports. 4, report on UNDP collaboration and financial and technical support. And finally, request for official vehicle for the Secretary to the committee. Then they note under progress on forensic audits awarded to private audit firms. Says originally 18 forensic audits were awarded. However, due to some logistic challenges, 2 audits have been suspended. So at least we know that we're not talking about just this audit. There have been 18 of them and 2 suspended. So we have 16 audits. What do we know to be the cost for all these 16 audits? And these are the audits completed and submitted to the Economic and Organized Crime Office.
And
these are the audits.
And the cabinet.
These are the audits. These are the audits.
Please read
Does it
the
matter?
whole sentence.
Read it.
Read the whole
committee,
sentence.
and the committee.
So it is to Yoko and the committee.
Right.
Why the
You're right
cabinet
about
committee?
that. So
Please read
these
whole
are the
sentence.
audits. Ghana Gas Company. Their auditors are Morrison and Associate. Microfinance and Small Loans Center, Maslock. Their auditors are Bafwe and Associate. Ghana Free Zones Board. Their auditors are Worldwide Investment Company Limited. Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Limited, BOSS. Their auditors are Deloitte and Touche. Ghana Standards Authority. Their auditors are Deloitte and Touche. Ghana Technology University. Their auditors are SWQ Consult. So it's quite a number, yes. So we know that at least 16 audits to private firms have been done. What do we know to be the cost? So that you can effectively, as it were, debunk Asiedu Nketiah. Clearly, you have shown with one clear evidence, unimpeachable, we should all agree. But what happens to the rest?
Samson, I'm not in a position, as I sit here, to deal with all 16 because I do not know the status of any of those. The report clearly indicates that 6 of those reports that were commissioned by Yoko are ready. And you see, the sense that I get from my friends on the other side is to say that Cabinet has no mandate to set up a committee to coordinate some investigations that are being conducted by state agencies or what? Is that the sense?
The problem is that the audits are being done or have been completed by the public.
But I have proven to you, per the letter that you have read, that the audits that were conducted on at least Ghana Gas was commissioned by Yoko.
Right.
So where lies the claim that these are audits that have been awarded to private firms, okay, when state agencies are actually conducting audits or have completed the audits? Where lies that claim? There's absolutely no basis for that claim. Okay, because the evidence is suggestive that Yoko mandated these entities to conduct the investigations on their behalf.
So how come the cabinet committee? How come the cabinet and what's its mandate?
And I'm asking you whether you are suggesting that the cabinet hasn't got any right to mandate a subcommittee to coordinate investigations that are being conducted by state agencies.
All right, so you take a breather quickly. Take a breather. Kweku, what do you know about these audits and the claims as have been made by Asiedu Nketiah?
See, there are 2 angles, and I'm not too sure which one to deal with first. It looks as if we are looking at the substance of the issue now, the legality or otherwise, the originating authority and those things. For me, those are the key areas. But I'm not about to ignore the fact that General Mosquito, in this case, Asiedu Nketiah, peddled too many lies, maligned the personality of the board chairman with no facts.
Show us why.
Oh,
you said he peddled too many lies. So show us why.
First of all, General Mosquito, where is the NDC statement? Let's start with this. He talks about that it was Mr. Duajimai who in 1983 was banned by the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana, from practicing accountancy and auditing in Ghana for forging an audit report for a private firm whose accounts he had neither seen nor audited. This is a lie. Complete lie. No truth in it.
You say he didn't provide any evidence, evidential proof. Where is yours?
Thank you. This is from my PNDC file. And this is a letter. Let me read, instead of reading both letters, I'll read the response. Mr. Duajimai wrote a letter to the Institute of Chartered Accountants. You see, some of these issues came up 2001 to about 2004. Yes. People forget, they think we have short memories. This is a letter dated 23rd March 1988. And it's from, it says, "Dear Sir, we refer to your letter dated 21st March 1988, calling for council decision in respect of a case involving you and which was reported in the 24th and 25th 1982 issues of the Daily Graphic and Ghanaian Times. We wish to inform you that after your appearance before the council on 1st March 1982 and subsequently before the disciplinary committee on 17th May 1982, the council of the institute wrote to the Citizens Vetting Committee for a copy of the proceedings covering what transpired when you appeared before the Citizens Vetting Committee to help it in its investigations. Unfortunately, there has been no reply to the council's letter. As a result, council has been unable to proceed with any further investigations in the matter. The issue, therefore, has not been fully resolved. Yours faithfully, A.H. Brown, Honorary Secretary." This is from the Institute of Chartered Accountants. Asiedu Nketiah says this gentleman was dismissed in 1983 for misconduct, professional misconduct. This gentleman, 1988, he traveled out of Ghana. So when he came back, he wrote to the council that I appeared before you on these matters. This is the council's reply, dated 21st March 1988. How many years after the so-called 83 dismissal? So I say he was lying. He just didn't tell the truth. Now, the other one is this. It was the same Duajimai, who in 1986 led a team to conduct special investigations and at the end of the exercise presented a false report causing some heads of department to suffer unjustly when they were innocent, leading to Duajimai being sacked. This is 1986, okay? Now, see, between 1988, 89, and 1990, let me read this letter. Reposting of Mr. E.D. Ajimai. Mr. E.D. Ajimai was
letter from who?
From Atudazi, PNDC Secretary, dated 13th April 1989. Mr. E.D. Ajimai was appointed to the Internal Revenue Service and seconded to the Audit Service as Deputy Auditor General. By authority of this letter, Mr. E.D. Ajimai is being recalled from the Audit Service and reposted to the National Investigation Committee. He is to report to the Chairman of the National Investigation Committee for assignment and is addressed to the Acting Auditor General and the Coordinator, Revenue Commissioners and Investigation. In this case was Mr. Kwame Nahoy.
So he wasn't sacked?
Yes, but look, listen. So this is a letter dated 30th June 1989. Resignation of appointment. Dear Sir, I wish to resign my position as Deputy Auditor General for health reasons. I have glaucoma and eye disorder, which of late has adversely affected my sight. My conditions of employment require me to give 3 months' notice of resignation. However, I have 84 working days leave, made up as follows: 1987, 21 working days; 1988, 42 working days; 1989, 21 working days, totaling 84 working days. I therefore wish to start my leave prior to my resignation from Tuesday, 4th July, and end on 27th October 1989 to enable me to continue my treatment. My resignation therefore takes effect from 27th October 1989. Yours faithfully, E.D. Ajimai. Copied Chief of Staff, PNDC, Castle Osu. Copied to Acting Commissioner, Internal Revenue Service, might have been Mr. Tuahoy. Chairman, National Investigations Committee, might have been Kwame Nahoy. This is it. More letters here. Apart from that, Asiedu Nketiah went on to make other claims, because I am saying those are not the substance of the issue. But you see, it takes away the credibility of what he himself put out there. And he was saying that because of this man's so-called lack of credibility and integrity, UNDP should not fund any project that he is involved in. I'm telling you, many more. There is the point about the castle renovation and things that went on. I have all these reports here. Asiedu Nketiah told a bloody lie. It's as simple as that. Many, about 6 or 8 of all the allegations he put out there are lies. And when he was asked yesterday on Asampa to bring the evidence, he says, no, I'll meet the man in court. I nearly said something I shouldn't say. So that's the matter when you look at the substance, the non-essentials. If I were him or whoever wrote this piece, they should have taken all those things out and focus. You are talking here of 6.8 million cedis that has been misapplied, or dollars. You know, you are talking of legality or otherwise of audit. Focus.
Usefulness or otherwise.
Yes.
Because the claim is that the audit service has already done them or was doing them. So there was duplication.
That's what I thought they should have done.
But you see, Ghana Gas is a limited liability company that is not subject to the audit service audits.
Now, you indicated that you have the 19th October letter.
Iyoko letter.
Iyoko letter.
Yeah.
I have a copy here.
Appointing Morrison.
And you wanted more, further and better particulars to back it. Okay, this is 19th October as well, 2017. It's addressed to the managing director, a partner rather, K&A Accounting Services. They were to investigate also.
And this appointment was also by Iyoko.
That's it.
Not by the board.
Yes, it's Iyoko.
Yes, I'm just stating so.
Yeah.
Yes, the next one.
This one is the 7 July 2017.
Okay.
It's addressed to Deloitte and Touche.
And
Also,
who is making the appointment?
Iyoko. Okay. And that letter they are referring to, please read the last paragraph. It says the secretary needs the vehicle to regularly visit the offices of the committee members, the offices of the auditors who are conducting the forensic audits on behalf of Iyoko. This 31st August letter. So even in there, you can get a hint of the Iyoko thing. You don't need to go far.
So you're saying that the role of this cabinet, or government-appointed committee within the Jubilee House is only, as it were, to do coordination of what Iyoko is doing.
That's what the 31st December letter
And what's
is.
the propriety in that? What's the propriety in that?
We're going step by step.
Okay.
We're going step by step.
I have a problem with that. You have
Why don't you
Iyoko-
wait when I finish that you
All right.
contest it?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, 30th March 2017, establishment of an ad hoc committee of cabinet to coordinate investigations. This is letter dated 30th March 2017. I read, at this fourth meeting held on Friday, 24th March 2017, Cabinet discussed the need to ensure the proper coordination of all investigations relating to matters under the former administration. Accordingly, Cabinet directed the underlisted ministers to constitute a committee under the chairmanship of the senior minister to coordinate such investigations. 1. Attorney General and Minister for Justice. 2. Minister for Interior. 3. Minister for National Security. 4. Minister of State designate for Public Procurement. I shall be grateful if you could take requisite action on the decision by Cabinet. Signed, Ambassador Mercy Deborah Karikari, Secretary to the Cabinet. Okay? And then comes the 4th April 2017. Dear colleagues, establishment of an ad hoc committee of Cabinet to coordinate investigations. This is signed by Senior Minister Osafo Mafu. Please find attached a letter from the Secretary to Cabinet, which is self-explanatory. His Excellency the President would want us to meet to discuss our method of operation before the ministerial retreat. May I kindly ask Honorable Ministers mentioned in the letter to attend an urgent maiden meeting in the office of the Senior Minister on the first floor of the Office of the President Annex on Thursday, 6 April 2015 at 1 p.m. I'll be grateful, and it's copied to all of them. There are also Cabinet memos to show the minutes and the meetings and all that they held. Okay? Now, I hear people say, well, it should be the Auditor General who is doing all these things. That's an argument you can canvass. But I records, see, this is dated 20th September 2009. Public Procurement Authority. Request for single source procurement, forensic audit. We make reference to your reapplication for restrictive tendering with reference number so and so dated 22nd September 2009 on the above subject matter. We wish to inform you that in accordance with Section 38B of Act 633, approval is granted to use restrictive tendering granted you to use restrictive tendering method to invite unlisted companies to tender to conduct forensic investigations into alleged irregularities in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning to establish government liabilities, MDA's financial support and financial management, among others, at an estimated cost of $2.5 million. 1. JGL Forensic Investigations. 2. VWM Forensic Accounting Services. 3. Lex Lexia Pty Limited. Please ensure that all documentation regarding the above requirement and procurement is appropriately kept to facilitate future procurement audits. We count on your cooperation in this matter. This is from ABRG Chief Executive. Then, I think he's back again as the new Chief Executive. And it's addressed to the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, who had requested, had put in an application to contract these three bodies to conduct forensic audits. No reference to the Auditor General here. See, this whole matter, during the Duajimai chairman auditorship, when he was Auditor General, in line with the Audit Service Act as well as the Constitution, the Auditor General has the authority actually to outsource audits, and Duajimai was doing a lot of that. The NDC protested even that. And it's documented, I have it here. They protested. Today I hear them saying that that is the exclusive path that should be followed. But I'm saying that even that time when it was being done by Duajimai, they protested. Today, and come 2009, they were doing same. The point is that the Audit Service Act as well as the Constitution would not serve as a barrier for this agents, other IOCO, to also recruit or court.
Okay, but when you look at the nature and the scope of these audits that are being done, does this suggest to you or not clearly that it is an enterprise to fish for evidence to look for them within a particular political regime?
To that extent, fishing is allowed. How else would you come by the facts? You get tidbits. People come tell you different things. Do you take those tidbits to court? No.
Is it not the case that you would have an issue with certain specific issue, then you proceed on that to audit to confirm the issues you have, or you do something that sounds general,
this scope,
and that you are looking for information
No, if you read the scope on this bare face, it will you create that impression.
Well, I'm asking questions.
Good question. Yeah, agreed. But that doesn't mean that some other documentations have not been given. IOCO, by all means, the investigation will be triggered.
If you say so.
By availability of some information, but incomplete, and not something you can use for successful prosecution.
All right. So
if you want to do propaganda, that is easy.
Let me hear Nana later on this. And when I come to Prof, you see, the thing that ought to be clear is this, and you can assist us from, a perspective of academia and, whatever it is. I was going to say something which may not be too good. But the thing is that when the NDC came into power, you would find that they did what the NPP is doing exactly. And then they conducted audits, like for Intubust. They would do a similar thing. And they would do it for within the regime's period. And out of that, they will seek to look for information that they can use against some of the people
this was since 2017. You read it.
Right.
Well, the scope. It was since 2017.
Right. Okay. Yes. So
I believe I wish to rely extensively on the NDC statement, the rebuttal to Yao, Honorable Yao Boabeng Asamoah's the NPP press statement. And the first thing is that the document Kweku Baku referred to was for the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance approval being given by the Procurement Authority for the Minister of Finance to procure.
I'm not highlighting procurement. I'm highlighting the mandate, source of request, not procurement. Because procurement too must look into this.
Yes.
This
so
recent one.
For me, one thing sticking out uncomfortably for MPP is how were these experts engaged? by IOCO. What procurement processes? You can, Wabin can come and say that, yes, they were engaged by IOCO and quote laws. Was it restrictive tendering? Was it open? Was it sole source? Where is the documentation? Especially when MPP has a penchant of, we always see documents from Jubilee House, from where, on social media. How come they cannot produce any documentation to show that experts or auditors were procured? And when you look at the NDC statement, you find out that NDC is even questioning the nature of business of some of these companies. Worldwide Investments Limited is one of the private firms. And when you look at and I'll read, this is their objects, as per a document from the Registrar General's Department. Electrical contractors trading in general goods, import and export, etc.
You have the Registrar General still here?
I don't have it. It does not include anything about auditing or forensic investigations. And they are actually the auditors auditing the Ghana Free Zones Board. So we question all this. To what extent was the Attorney General involved? Because when you look at the IOCO law, the Attorney General is the one responsible. And then we talk about this cabinet committee. What is their coordinating role? It seems like they are actually implementing. And you read certain portions of the 31st August 2018 Cabinet Committee responsible for coordination letter. And they are giving information on progress of the forensic audit. If it is indeed IOCO who is in charge, why is it not IOCO, the organization or institution, giving this progress report? And then that's number 3, the third paragraph in this letter under reference talks about number of audits completed and submitted to IOCO and the committee. And then the committee says, and then this cabinet committee seeks to request for extension of financial support by UNDP. If IOCO were the ones who passed one to Section 14 and all that, according to Yabwabing, they were the ones who asked UNDP to provide technical support. Why is it that it is this cabinet committee that is now asking UNDP to extend the financial and technical support to facilitate the work of the committee? So there's a direct contrast with what Yabwabing is saying, the MPP statement. When you read paragraph 5, request for extension of financial support by UNDP, this same document, the United Nations Development Program, 1-year financial and technical support, they are asking for an extension to facilitate the work of the committee, ended at the end of April 2018. The sector minister with the secretary to the committee met with the UNDP director. It did not mention IOCO. The sector minister and the secretary to this cabinet committee were the ones who met with UNDP. So what this whole flash in the pan red herring issue about IOCO, they need to find a plausible explanation to the NDC statement. And this blanket denial of 6.8 million, like I said, MPP should provide the documents and tell us exactly how much it costs in the spirit of transparency. And then in the MPP statement, they talk about the technical support from UNDP was not more than $100,000. Why can't the MPP state exactly how much this technical support is? And why can't they furnish Ghanaians with the documentation covering the UNDP 100,000 or less than 100,000 support? Because before the UNDP or any development partner provides money or resources to government, there is documentation. They should provide us that documentation, and it is only when they provide that documentation that we'll believe them. And like everybody has said, why is the Auditor General not the first option? Why did IOCO go to these external auditors? They should provide us explanation, or the cabinet committee, as it seems. They should provide us the explanation to show us that yes, indeed, the Auditor General did not have that capacity to do this audit, because we know
talking about
what
the
has
Auditor
happened.
General, there was actually information that was sought from the Auditor General on the 1st of October about this, and that letter was titled Request for Certified True Copy of the Audit Report undertaken by Morrison and Associates, authorized by the Cabinet Subcommittee responsible for coordination of investigations to forensic audits. And the Auditor General replied. This is the Auditor General's reply. In the reply, he was clear about the fact that he said, I have not commissioned Morrison and Associates to audit Ghana Gas Company.
Yeah.
And hence, I don't have the report you are requesting for.
Because the letter was misdirected.
Your letter clearly states that the audit was
Simple.
authorized by, quote, Cabinet Committee responsible
Thank
for
you.
coordination of investigations, forensic, unquote, and not the Auditor General. Even this, you will find that the Auditor General also didn't have sufficient information, because that audit was authorized by IOCO and not the
This
Cabinet
letter-
But what
this
did the
letter-
letter say?
So I'm coming-
Samson,
I'm getting to a point
You
four.
said authorized by the cabinet. There's no mention of Yoko. The first letter you referred to said
the letter that you wrote to
authorized
the
by
Auditor
the
General.
cabinet committee.
Right, so I'm
No.
coming. Yeah, this
There was
these
no
are,
mention of Yoko.
No.
No, but this letter...
Yoko is an afterthought.
No, this is
if you read the
this is
dates,
somebody
the dates.
seeking information.
Yes.
Yes.
And when the person is seeking information, the person referred to audit authorized by the Cabinet Committee.
Yes.
Because the person didn't
And-
know that the
Uh-huh.
Yoko was
So why
not
did
Right.
the person
Now
not
wait.
know? Why did the person? Because that is what
Wait,
that
then
is the
wait.
truth.
This
You
letter
wait.
was
There-
misdirected.
That is the truth.
There's a point I'm
That
getting
is
to.
the
Please.
truth.
There's a point
It is
I'm
not
getting to.
misdirected.
Then
It was
the auditor,
misdirected. No.
the auditor also says that I am not aware that Professor Edward Dua Ajiman, the chairman of the Audit Service Board, is also the secretary to the Cabinet Committee responsible for coordination of investigations stroke forensic. If you have any evidence to confirm this, please share it with me. This is the Auditor General replying back to the person seeking information. Is it good enough? And we'll come to you that if he is the secretary to this committee, the Auditor General doesn't know. He chairs that
Let's clarify
board.
it could still remain
Yeah.
a problem. But see, first of all, Duajima was appointed, I think, 27th March 2017. He was not the board chairman of the audit
At the time
service.
he was appointed
Yes,
secretary
the board,
to this.
the board was
Okay.
sworn in October 30th or so, 2017.
All right.
Couldn't
Thank
he
you.
have-
No, I'm
couldn't he
coming.
have
That's why. No,
informed-
it's
Okay,
true.
it's okay.
I'm talking-
Can we
As a
hold on?
former
You
Auditor
are still,
General,
you are still on the floor. I'm just
You are not
providing
listening
some
to me. I'm saying
information.
that the case still
Now let me come
remains,
to this.
except that I'm giving
this is
timelines.
important.
Yeah, but
This
it's
is
useful
important.
to have
The
informed.
Auditor General replies again says that, in my view, the mandate to audit in the public sector is the exclusive prerogative of the Auditor General, as provided by Article 1872, 3 and 5. That's of the Constitution.
Samson, I wish you had
The
read
audit
this.
service.
It's unfair to the auditor.
The
General.
audit
See,
service.
Needless.
Wait, the audit service and the audit, the audit
want to be
service
dragged into this
and the
thing.
audit service board, established under Article 188 and 189, have no mandate to audit nor to authorize audits. The engagement of consultants and experts, as stated in Section 8 of Act 584, may be for any other services other than audit. I am of the view that Section 8 of Act 584 has been superseded by the Public Procurement Act 663 as amended.
You see
It does
something, don't you get
appear
the
that
problem?
from this, yes, from this, it does appear that from my reading, it doesn't appear that the Auditor General even has a problem with what may be going on.
See, and the
It
thing
is not a matter of his personal sentiment as to whether he has a
Samson.
problem or not. It is what is the
Wait-
law.
wait for Nanoye to finish.
What is the law? What does Article 187, 3 and 5 say?
Okay.
And it is obvious that the Cabinet Committee is the one implementing this, and IOCO is just being put in for cosmetic purposes.
Okay.
And it's sad that
That's
President Nana
completely
Akufo-Addo
baseless.
talks about strengthening anti-corruption institutions.
Okay.
And then how on earth can his government then appoint these auditors?
Because
How
the
do you
Yoko Act
strengthen?
gives
How
Yoko mandate to
it is
appoint
neither here
external
nor
people.
there.
to assist them in the conduct of the
neither here nor
investigation.
there.
And that's exactly what happened.
It is neither here nor there. This is what our president is saying. Strengthen anti-corruption institutions.
You are saying
yes,
that the president should tell IOCO that don't engage private audit firms to assist you with forensic audits that you require for your work.
Work with Auditor General. From all that the documents.
Why did the IOCO Act not say so?
From all the documents, Auditor General was in the dark. Auditor General.
Because the Auditor General was not conducting an investigation.
It was the Cabinet Committee in charge of everything. So what I'm saying is that, well, that flies in the face of your government's commitment to fight
What is the problem if it is not wrong with law? What is the problem? What is the problem if no law is being breached? What is the problem?
The problem is that the Auditor General should be at the center and should be the pivot of
what's
this
the law that
investigation.
says he should do that?
The Constitution says that.
No,
Article
the Auditor
187.
General knows his job.
Not exclusively, but he should be the pivot.
Okay.
He should be the pivot,
Thank you.
and he should
see you for who you
Thank you.
request for
Thank you.
additional support.
Let me be
Thank
very
you.
frank with you.
You do a minute and we get Prof. We hear Prof. Yeah.
The letter that was sent to the Auditor General was misdirected.
Was misdirected.
Yeah, to the wrong person.
It should have been
and
sent
the
to
wrong authority.
IOCO or the...
Exactement. Exactement.
Okay.
You see?
No, but at least through this letter,
Because
through this
clearly it
letter
was born out of
now
ignorance.
we
The
know
persons
we
who
know
wrote this thing didn't even
we
know
know
who
for
are
a fact
commissioning
that the
investigation.
Auditor General has been in the dark about this.
No,
at least through this letter.
but is that in dispute?
Totally.
No, that is not
and
in
is that
dispute.
right?
Okay.
Is
No,
it right?
please, I'm coming. That's not in
Is it
dispute.
right?
Because he's not the one conducting the investigation.
Is he not the Auditor General?
Okay,
And so
thank you,
with the
thank
legal
you.
mandate.
So,
Thank
is he
you,
not? So,
thank you,
this is
thank
so
you.
wrong
Just
see,
by
please,
MPP.
please,
Don't
please.
create your own
Please, it's okay,
discourses.
it's
That's
okay.
not
So
anybody.
wrong.
It's okay, please hold it. Thank you. So
It is
Kweku,
not-
I'll give
and
you a
see,
minute.
this is an Auditor General that I'm backing fully.
Right.
No
We are all
concessions.
backing.
But you see, so the paragraph 3, 4, 5 are chipped in, and I hear the NDC sing that tune. Okay? It's unfair. So apparently, perhaps it's on receipt of this letter that triggered their press conference. It's so unfair. Leave the Auditor General alone and leave him out of this thing. Focus on what if there's illegality or unconstitutionality. You know where to go. If you think there's a clash between what the IOCO is doing and
The fact
IOCO is
that
doing
you have a right to
and
go
what
to court does not take away your right to make a complaint.
No, but we cannot make noise.
Because these are public matters.
Something. We are making noise here.
Right.
But we're not going to solve the matter
Okay.
here, are we?
Okay. All right. Okay. So yes, Prof.
Well, I don't even know what to say. Let me see whether we can.
You see, the noise from us too much. Sorry,
I think
forgive us.
if it is
From the
necessary,
citadel of knowledge.
if
Say
it
it
is
again.
necessary to investigate regimes for whatever wrong that may have occurred, so
There would have been audits.
Right.
There would have been audits by the state entity that are already sitting there.
Yes.
For those periods, for those particular entities.
Well, if the-
just that you don't believe them, so you
Well,
want to do the
if you
private
want
one.
to do a private one and all
There's
that.
some history you are forgetting.
It is important that we
Kweku
do
says I'm
so.
fighting history.
But you are forgetting a certain part of our history.
Okay.
And it came up during the Duajima time. Okay? Audit service staff, and I'm not saying it's the same situation today, who had been auditing some entities for years, 20, 30 years, found nothing. When the private firms were contracted to do forensic audits, within weeks, billions of cedis have been found.
Private firms were auditors for the banks.
Yes.
They never found the problems that
Yes, but I'm
have
saying
been
I'm
established
talking here
that led
of
to
the
the collapse of the
MDAs,
banks.
MDAs, the Senate, and those.
No, I'm just giving you an
entities.
example
Yeah.
that the same entities that were investigating
that's
or
not entirely
conducting
accurate.
audit for these banks.
You may have a point there,
didn't
but the
give
point
those-
I'm making.
Okay, so
yeah.
Prof, let's not stifle his.
I'm saying that if
presentation.
it's necessary to investigate a regime, so be it, at least for the sake of the principles of probity and accountability. My view is that in doing so, let the rules of the game be respected. Let us follow due process and let us not sidestep processes just to be able to incriminate those we believe may have run afoul of our rules. This is the only thing we can do to be proud in ourselves that we have contributed to strengthening institutions. And so, yes, let the investigations go on, but let the appropriate bodies also participate. I am seeing that there's an impression that the Auditor General may have been sidelined, even though sidelining him or allowing other bodies to also do probes and investigations maybe not
sidelined in any matter.
Oh, you've been talking all this one, so let me. But I think generally this is also coming as a result of a certain low-intensity conflict between the board chair of our audit service and then the Auditor General. That is manifest, in the public domain. Over the years, I think we have been denied of the needed resources. The state has been denied of the needed resources it needs to bring about development, and it's important we reinvigorate all measures aimed at protecting the public purse so that we have enough resources. And I think we need a vibrant Auditor General like the one we have, and then we need also a competent board chair like Professor Edua Ajiman. I think I worked with him at the IEA.
You need a vibrant Auditor General as an individual. Is that what you need, or an institution?
We need,
because as you know now, he's not happy about what is going on. And
let me finish
the letter I read to you again. The letter I read to you again. The letter I read to you again. He clearly asserts that this is his exclusive mandate.
See, investigation through forensic audit. There is nowhere in the Constitution or the Audit Service Act that says
okay. All I'm saying is that some of these things may not have come out like the way they've come out if there had been some kind of cordial relations between the Auditor General and then his board chair. And I'm urging that they are all competent. They should team up to also see how they can play a role, in this process to ensure that those who have run afoul of our rules, those who have misapplied, or those who have blatantly looted resources are brought to book. That's all I want to say. But if they can't work, then they should also take a cue from what we have.
Your drift, because I don't think we should confuse the two. The board chair and his the Auditor General's matter is a separate matter.
That's right.
Well, it's a separate matter. But if you look at the NDC's press statement, they made a lot of attacks against the person of Professor Dia Ajiman, and I'm saying that some of these things are as a result of the strained relations between the two, and it's important for them.
This is spokespersons for the Auditor General.
No, but you see, they make a reference. They make a reference that may be justified. That may be justified to explain why what the Auditor General ordinarily should have been doing is being done by some private
people. That prove that they themselves contracted.
What is happening.
Yeah, but okay, so I'm going forward
under the Yoko Act.
They review the law.
Section 14.3 clearly gives Yoko the mandate to
amend the I don't think anybody has disputed that.
But that's exactly what they're confusing the issues to say.
The issues are not confused.
It is only the Auditor General who has a mandate to conduct audit of public office. That is false.
Under the guise of
it's false.
It is not.
Completely false.
Go to court and test it.
Right.
Definitely not.
They should go to court and test it.
What is not
Definitely
false?
not. Iyoko is not doing it. It is that cabinet committee.
The letters we have read, they say it is Iyoko. You don't
read the cabinet committee report.
It's so straightforward.
Read the cabinet committee report.
All right. Are you done?
Read the cabinet committee report. It is not Iyoko.
Okay, so listening to what is also going on and then listening to Iyoko back, it seems that we also are creating the impression that the audit service is also not maybe fit for purpose, or it's not doing what it's expected. No, Kwesi Kweku said that at a certain point in time, you asked the audit service to do a review or audit and they don't find anything wrong, but then you ask private people to get into the same fray and then they find something wrong. And so if we have to strengthen them, we may have to think about doing our best to strengthen that institution so that it may not always be necessary to spend huge sums of money to contract, private people to come and do a job that we believe the audit service can competently do.
Ideally, you are right.
Huge sums of money. Meanwhile, we are waiting for Asiedu Nketiah to still justify the exact amount he quotes because there's been contrary information that suggests that $6.8 million
It's never going to come back.
Don't waste
never
your
been
time.
spent.
That was a voodoo figure he picked from somewhere. Don't waste your time.
I see.
No, that is
I
not.
see.
It is not.
Okay. All right. So
Show us the proof.
We have shown you.
Where is it?
We have shown you.
So you think that how many institutions will the government or the IOCO be interested in extending these private audit processes to go on, and how long is it going to continue?
Well, I'm not in a
18
position.
and counting.
How many state institutions do we have? So if it's only 18 that some allegations have been made regarding their operations, so be it. After all, our constitution enjoins us to ensure probity and accountability. Today, the acolytes of probity and accountability are crying foul. Okay? To the extent that it leads to this country recovering, if possible, okay, and also sanctioning or putting in place rules that avert the reoccurrence of these malfeasance, by all means.
Okay. All right.
Due process will take place.
Right,
Because
due process.
If it's court, it's
As
court.
always,
Nobody
due
can
process.
jail anybody.
And
anyhow.
we have said here
Yes.
and again, never
Definitely.
again.
Never again.
It all
Definitely.
boils down to the point of
These are
due
not
process.
kangaroo
We take a
courts or
break.
people's courts.
I return to read some of your messages to you. You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. Now, just quick, a few of your messages, and then we'll continue with the next segment. Now, Musa in Kumasi says that the era of using court of public opinion to criminalize public officials must stop. That's why I'm with you in advocating the passing of the RTI bill, because the issues by the General Secretary could be easily traced, because Kweku Bako is noted for always disagreeing with NDC. Okay, I'm not getting clearly. His evidence in the subject matter is questionable. On the emphasis, we won't curtail by any, you mean to say to any political witch hunting from the government. Okay, thank you. Eja Adam says this is nothing but just a plot to undermine Dr. Dua Ajiman by Asiedu Nketiah and the NDC as a party to cause confusion among the populace, so that attention will be drawn away from the findings of the rot, thievery, corruption, and others that they did whilst in power. However, when such plain-faced thieves are brought before law courts and jailed, one will hear these ordinary people who are victims of such crime shouting witch hunting. Kofi Atta in Cambridge says that the IOCO letter, as read, may appear to be a fishing expedition on its face value. However, it would not be as if at the time the letter was written, there was reasonable suspicion or belief that some wrongdoing or criminal act had been committed. The reasonable suspicion or belief must be supported by evidence and not mere suspicion or speculation. It must also be clear to any reasonable person with an objective mind, if these factors were present at the time of the letter, then the letter is not a fishing expedition. Ibrahim Kopa in Tamale writes, the NDC press conference made me to have a second look at the genuineness of the work of the Auditor General. The unwarranted attacks on the person of the board chairman of the audit service by the opposition NDC, coupled with the unnecessary trivialities and shenanigans between the Auditor General and the board chairman of the audit service, is enough to buttress my point. Okay, thanks for those messages. And one on the audit issue by a lawyer is saying that the section 14.3 of the IOCO Act 0804. He says that provision is simply that the office may engage the services of advisors on the recommendation of the board. So that's the provision. The office may engage the services of advisors on the recommendations of the board. He says this is what they are construing as empowering IOCO to engage private audit firms to conduct forensic audit. Then he asked me, Senior, can a general legislation supersede the provision of a specific legislation on audits? So he shares a view that he thinks, right, he should head to the court. Okay, all right, thank you.